Hi guys, how's it going? Today I've received a package from the States from a company called Vid-Atlantic Media Productions for some anamorphic hack goodies. So let's open up the packet and see what I've got inside. What I've ordered is known as a CineMorph Mod Filter, and it's designed by Vid-Atlantic Media Productions. It's made to replicate that anamorphic look and to recreate those awesome horizontal lens flares that you would normally see in the movies. That would ordinarily be done with a very, very expensive anamorphic lens. This particular one is designed for the Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter art lens. So I've picked one up for my trusty one here, and before we say any more about it, let's open the package up and see what the general packaging of it's like. Okay, so it cost me, as well as shipping from California, around about £45. And it's just come in a jiffy bag. They say between 10 to 21 days. It came in 5 days, I think, so I'm quite pleased with that. Let's have a look. So it's just in a bit of bubble wrap. Let's open this up, shall we? Okay, so I've come with a little lens cloth. And then the filter is just in a little bag. So for the amount of money I'd spent, I think I would have liked a little bit of a protective case. Comes with a nice little Vid-Atlantic sticker. But yeah, so it's just come in tiny little jiffy bag, which, seeing as how delicate these are, it's a bit concerning, but you get two. There's one there, and they are designed to go on the inside there. So what I'll do now is just show you guys how to fit it, and then we shall go do some testing and see exactly how well it works. So it's a slightly better look of the CineMorph Mod Filter. As you can hopefully see, there is a fine wire, plastic wire, that goes through the center of it. That is the flare streak element, which creates the horizontal streaks, basically, for that cinematic look. This one is in neutral color. You can get them in blue, red, fuchsia pink, and teal turquoise. I went for neutral just so I can kind of manipulate the color itself a little bit more in post, rather than just being stuck with one. And so the fitting, here you can see I've already loosened off the 3 screws, so you just need a fine Phillips head to do that. Once that's loosened off, you find where the larger gap is in this plastic. You put, as you can see, there's a rougher side. You put the rough side down onto your lens, line it up like so. Then you rotate until it fits under the screws. Can be a bit fiddly. Let's loosen this one up a bit more. Oh. Okay, there we go. And then we tighten this back up, but don't over tighten it, because what I've found is that if you over tighten, it splits the plastic. You also want to make sure that the screws have been tightened down enough so that they don't protrude. But that is then fitted and you are ready to go. Well, as you just seen from the footage, the short but sweet test shoot was pretty successful. I'm very pleased with how the filter works on the Sigma 18-35. I always liked the bokeh on the Sigma 18-35 anyway, but I really like the way that it makes those lovely oval shapes, and of course the horizontal lens flares from all the lights just looks beautiful. My particular settings for last night on my Canon 80D were an f-stop of 1.8, ISO of 250, Kelvin set at 2500, all shot in 23.976, so 24 frames per second basically, and that was in all eye compression. Now, the one thing that I would say is when you do have the filter on, do not expect your lovely Canon autofocus to work the same, especially in such low light conditions that I was working in. Normally with this lens, in certain circumstances, in the same settings as last night, without the filter, it would autofocus a lot better. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because at the end of the day, as a filmmaker, you should really get to grips with using the manual focus a lot more. Last night I didn't have too much time to capture the test footage, so I mainly shot everything with autofocus on. So I just had to play around with things a little bit more and almost coax the lens and the autofocus to push and pull. But I really like the look of the bokeh and the lens flare which this anamorphic mod filter creates, and it should hopefully push me better as a filmmaker to start not relying so much on the beautiful Canon autofocus and to really start pulling some manual focus. Most of the time last night I'd used the Sigma on 35mm, and that gave it a really nice vignette look at that zoom range. It really gives it a really nice cinematic look, and yeah, just very impressed with how the filter worked. It was also the first time I think I've ever done a full B-roll sequence in 24 frames per second. It's always been 60 frames per second, so it was quite nice to do that. The one thing that I would say is also at 60 frames per second, you've almost got no chance of the autofocus working in low light, such as it was last night and on the footage you've just seen. But as an overall conclusion of the anamorphic mod filter, very pleased indeed, and I'm glad that I got the neutral flare one in the end so that I could manipulate it and change the colors in post rather than just having a fixed blue or red or anything like that. But that's, at the end of the day, that is personal preference. Do I think it's worth $45 or roundabouts that with shipping? Yes, I do. At the end of the day, you do get 2 of them. Even though I said earlier that I'd like to probably see a bit of a hard case or something like that. Yeah, maybe just a thin, you know, plastic box that you might get with a KNF filter would be nice, just so that, you know, they're a bit more protected in transit, because at the end of the day it came in a jiffy bag with some bubble wrap on. And you could say that $45 for a couple of pieces of plastic is a lot, but for what it creates with your Sigma 18 to 35mm art lens, for the price is really, really good, seeing as you would spend a lot of money on normal anamorphic lenses. So I can highly recommend this, and I look forward to playing around with it even more. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, then please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and if you want regular updates on all of my latest videos, then hit that little bell. Thanks for watching, guys.